Subscribe now so you never miss a story. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this one intrigued you, hit that like button. It was a Tuesday afternoon like any other, though I didn't know it would become one of those days I'd carry with me forever. My husband, Ryan, was away on a business trip in Denver. He had recently started a new job at a consulting firm, one that required far more travel than we were used to. We talked about it, of course. We weighed the pros and cons, and we both agreed it was the right step for his career, for our future. What we didn't talk about, or maybe what we overlooked in our naivety, was how his absence would affect me. Not just in the obvious ways, like eating dinner alone or sleeping in a half-empty bed, but in the quieter, more dangerous ways. The creeping loneliness, the repetition, the silence that slowly fills a house when the person who usually brings it to life with stories and laughter isn't there. That Tuesday, I worked from home like usual. I'm a freelance graphic designer, so my day is mostly spent bouncing between Photoshop and Zoom meetings. It's a solitary job, and most of the time I don't mind. But that day, everything felt heavier. The air was still. My focus was off. Deep down, I was aching for a spark, something new, something alive. That's when the message came in. It was from Ethan. We'd gone to college together, though we hadn't spoken in over 5 years. I was surprised to see his name pop up. The message was simple. Hey Madison, long time no see. I just moved back to town.
How are you?
I stared at the screen longer than I should have before replying.
Wow.
Hey Ethan. I'm good. Married now. Living in the suburbs. What about you? It started innocently, just two old friends catching up.
But it didn't stay that way.
Within a few hours, we'd exchanged phone numbers and were texting constantly. He sent a selfie from a coffee shop, and I noticed how little he had changed. Still charming. Still handsome in that slightly rugged way that made my 21-year-old heart skip back then. I sent back a picture of my dog, Sophie, curled up at my feet. At some point, he told me he was just a few blocks away and asked if I wanted to grab a coffee. I hesitated.
I really did.
I thought about Ryan, our life, our mortgage, our vows. But the pull of curiosity, of nostalgia, of needing to feel something, anything won. Sure, I typed. I could use a break. I told myself it was harmless. Just coffee. We met at a small cafe near the park, the kind with handwritten chalkboard menus and warm string lights hanging from the ceiling. I wore a loose cardigan and jeans, trying not to overthink it. Ethan looked the same, just a bit older, a little more filled out, but still with that boyish, confident smile. He hugged me like no time had passed. We talked for over an hour, about college, about work, about everything and nothing. He made me laugh in that easy, effortless way he always had. And when he reached across the table and touched my hand, it was like a jolt of electricity. I can't believe you're married, he said, glancing at my ring. Yeah, I said, pulling my hand away. It's been 3 years. Is he good to you? I paused. That should have been an easy yes. But I hesitated, not because Ryan wasn't good to me, but because the distance and the loneliness had convinced me that maybe he wasn't enough. He travels a lot for work, I said instead. It gets lonely sometimes. Ethan nodded slowly. I get that. We didn't kiss at the cafe. That came later. When we walked outside, he offered to walk me home, and I didn't say no. The streets were quiet, washed in fading golden sunlight. When we reached my front door, there was a moment of silence. I fumbled with my keys, heart racing. Do you want to come in? I asked before I could stop myself. He looked at me long and hard. Are you sure? No, I said, almost laughing. But I'm asking anyway. We crossed a line that night. What started as coffee turned into the kind of mistake that changes how you see yourself. We kissed like we were trying to reclaim lost time. It felt passionate. Intoxicating.
Wrong.
We spent hours wrapped in each other. And for a little while, it felt like the world didn't exist. But the moment ended. When I woke the next morning and saw him beside me, shirtless, tangled in sheets that weren't his, the weight of what I had done hit me like a wave. I wanted to rewind time, to erase the night, To be back in my kitchen, texting Ryan goodnight like I always did. But I couldn't undo it. I had betrayed someone who trusted me without question. And for what? A temporary escape from the mundane. A rush of old emotions that didn't belong in my present life. Ethan left quietly. Neither of us said much. We both knew it was a mistake. There was no fairy tale ending. No dramatic confessions. No promises. Just silence. Ryan came home 2 days later. He brought me a souvenir mug from Denver and kissed my forehead like always. I held it together until he fell asleep that night. Then I cried silently beside him, my guilt thick, unbearable. I haven't told him. Maybe one day I will. Maybe I owe him that. But right now, I'm still trying to understand why I let it happen. I'm still trying to forgive myself. And honestly, that might be the hardest part of all because no matter how much you want it, you can't take it back. You can't unring the bell. You can only live with the echo and hope that one day you'll find the courage to be honest. Not just with the people you love, but with yourself.